everyone. Welcome to the Rookie Reset. My name is Andrea Fitzgerald, and I'm going to be your host this evening. And you may be asking, what the heck is a Rookie Reset? Well, friends, it would be evenings just like this, except your girl will be stressed the hell out because I could not manage this class. I could not manage my classroom. Quite frankly, I couldn't figure out this whole teaching thing. So what we do here on the Rookie Reset is to provide you with practical tools, tips, and strategies to help you stay in the game. I am the professional learning, the PD that you need in your building. So today I'm super excited. Y'all know usually it's me on here running my mouth talking about these these new practical tools and tips, but I'm excited because I got a very special guest, aka Yasha Chapman, the owner and CEO of Elementary Ed Evolve. Is that right?
Yeah,
Elementary.
elementary education evolved. Yes.
Yes. So we're super excited to have a guest in here. She worked with the elementary people, getting the people together. She said gap closer. All right.
That
So
part.
yes. So I know Yasha, but I'd love for you if you could just tell us who are you and what do you do, Miss Chapman.
Well, first, I wanted to say, hey, teacher friends. It's so nice to be joining you today. I'm super excited to be here. And who am I? I am an empathetic problem solver that is driven by purpose and passion to produce positive change. And I also mom and wife and educate on the side. So that's
Okay,
who
okay.
I am.
Yes, I just love that. You said empathetic problem solver. I think that's so cool. I think that's almost a requirement to be a great teacher. But I see you said empathetic problem solver and all of that. But just like what has led you to the point that you are at right now as a consultant and all those things you do to support new teachers. Could you tell us a little about like your pathway? Like what has led you to this point? Like what's your story?
Yeah, so I started off as a classroom teacher, teaching most of my experience in pre-K and second grade, but I also have experience in every other grade, from pre-K through fifth grade, with the exception of fourth grade. Absolutely love teaching. Saw year after year my students continue to grow, and was curious if I could make that same impact just on a larger scale. So I
Mm-hmm.
looked into instructional coaching. I felt like I could be a good resource for other teachers, especially considering since my peers and colleagues, we would already plan together. They would already come to me and seek out advice and tips and things of that nature. And so it just felt like a natural progression, especially since eventually my plan is to be a superintendent of school districts. So I was like, well, let me just climb the ladder here. And then I fell in love with instructional coaching. Just like I fell in love with the students, I have a newfound love for working with adults, the teachers who teach them. I have a special place in my heart for them. And I just wanted to be in control. I had some life situations happen and wanted to be in control of my time. Who has access to me, who has access to my energy, and who I give it to. And so it led me here to continue on my path of being in control of my destiny, but still impacting teachers and doing the work that I love to do.
Yes. Okay. So classroom teacher. So you said that you have fallen in love with instructional coaching, but your long
Mhm.
term goal is to be a superintendent. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
through, superintendent. And and so just I'm sorry, y'all. I got a little cough. We
Okay.
cough dropping it,
We'll,
y'all. Listen. So
we'll feel better.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. So, as an instructional coach, like, what specific groups do you work with? You said because now you do your own thing, you're an educational consultant. Tell us a little bit about like what specific groups do you work with? As like what? Because you work with new teachers, is that right?
Right. So I
Okay,
work
okay,
with
so
new teachers, beginning teachers that have 0 to 3 years of experience, as well as
mm-hmm,
teachers that are on improvement plans. So it's really up to the principal's discretion, the school leader's
mm-hmm,
discretion. I also work with beginning instructional coaches, so those transitioning into that position, just because
mm-hmm.
that's a big transition where you're going from a peer to administrator. And so just being able to help them navigate those waters as well as help them equip them with the skills that they need to coach their colleagues.
Yeah, so you just you work with the newbies. That's what I hear. Like the new, you're
Yeah.
coaching.
Because
Excuse
that's
me.
where the support is needed the most. You know, a lot of times as newbies, we get thrown in positions and we're like, good luck with
You're
limited support,
absolutely right.
limited mentorship or mentorship that doesn't always fulfill their obligations to their
Mhm.
fullest capacity. I'll say it that way. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, just understanding the trials and obstacles that a new instructional coach goes through. Haven't been a new instructional coach, haven't been a new teacher
Mhm.
before. I understand the value and the essence of that support, of that immediate, like one call away type of situation. And so that's what I'm providing.
Oh, yes, I love that because something that you just said there is like, when they give the people the key. Yeah, you give you the key, you go in the classroom and make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, looking at you, you're so polished and you're helping the people. But I imagine it's not always been like this. At one point, you you were a new teacher. So
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to hear because I think it's so important. I think for new teachers, like we be out here. I know when I was a new teacher, I was like, man, everybody seemed like they just got this figured out. Like, and I'm over here struggling. But I think it's so amazing to see people who are so successful
Yeah.
and tell tell them about excuse me, their first year. So I'd love to hear some insight into that first year. Like, what was it like? What worked? What didn't? Did you ever feel like, you know what, I'm about this camp? So tell us a little bit about your first year.
Listen, that first year, I cried so much. Um, I'm not even lying. Like, I cried so much. Like, is this for me? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? I
Mm.
had the most crazy experience with the parent. Because again, at
Mhm.
this time, I was teaching pre-K, and it
Mm.
was it was just a messy situation. It was really out of my control, and the parent didn't understand. I mean, it was just hectic, just for a long story short. And I really
Mhm.
doubted myself. I doubted if, although I had other parents telling me, "Oh, you're such a positive light, and my child has grown
Mhm.
so much," and that's something that I'm blessed to be able to say. As a first year teacher, I experienced a lot of student
Mhm.
growth. I would say the
Mm.
difficulties came in with building relationships with parents. Um, that's
Mm.
that's what my struggle was, for not understanding, the proper channels to express myself, and in situations I felt like I had to defend myself, right? Because I'm not
Mm.
your enemy. I'm on your team. I'm here to support you
Mhm.
in the development of your child. So just trying to navigate the waters of getting parents to understand, like, I am not your enemy. We are on the same team. If I let you down,
Mhm.
I wholeheartedly apologize, but let's just
Mhm.
communicate better so that we're both on the same page as far as expectations. What do you expect of
Mhm.
me? And being
Mhm.
realistic in what I can actually deliver.
Mm.
So
I love
that's
that.
what my first year was about.
Okay, so it sounds like the teaching side of it that was not as challenging,
No.
but the relationship with the parents,
Yes.
that was a little bit of a challenge, and that's so
Yeah.
interesting because in the teacher groups that I look in, I just kind of see like, oh, what are people having challenge? That's something that I hear quite a bit. So I'd love to hear like what did you do to navigate that, because that is I mean, dealing with adults, and a lot of times like parents like, oh, this, they have these expectations around their kids and things like that. So tell us a little bit about like how did you navigate that and how did you overcome that, because that's, I mean, that's a real challenge out here for new teachers.
It is. Uh, Honesty is the best policy, right? So I figure
Mm-hmm.
it's better than to surprise you later. I let you know what you're getting up front, right? So open houses. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. This is my rules. I am
Mm-hmm.
all business. If there is something going on at home, by all means, send a note. Have your child express that or communicate that with me. But as soon as they cross this threshold, it's time to work. If you're on board with that, I'm
Mm-hmm.
the teacher for you. These are my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I will not accept
Mm-hmm.
anything less. I hope I have your partnership this school year. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, just that upfront and direct approach, it wasn't, uh, catty or anything like that or sassy. It was just, I'm not changing my approach because it works and it works for me. This is
Mm-hmm.
who I am. I will
Mm-hmm.
respect you. I of course will respect and love your child,
Hold on a second.
but
My
you will
fan.
not
My
control my
sound.
classroom
My
environment.
phone. Sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. My apologies. Let me turn my phone off because that thing just when the sound go off, it just I don't know. All right. Okay. So you said you're not changing your approach. Tell me more.
So oftentimes parents can push their beliefs or their practices or what they want you to do or not do or things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. I have one job, that is to grow your child as a whole, academically and socially.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. So I have a follow up question to that.
Yeah.
So, what I hear you saying is it sounds like over communication and honesty is really
Mhm.
important. Like from the jump, you
Yeah.
walk in the door. This is what you can expect from me all year long, right?
Yes.
But I also hear something around like you're, from our few interactions, I know that you are very direct and,
Yeah.
and very results oriented.
Yes.
And you said like I'm not gonna move based on what your expectations are. How do you navigate that relational building piece? Like I'm considering you, but also staying true to who you are. Like, I think that is so important for new teachers to know. Like how do you navigate that?
You know, honestly, it was like authenticity attracted, like real attracts real. Real recognizes real, right?
Mm,
I
mm-hmm,
had no issues with parents when I
mm-hmm,
switched to that approach. When I wasn't
mm,
being myself, I had more combativeness, more headbutts. But when
mm-hmm,
I just showed up, this is what it is. And I also with that, because by that time that was no longer my first year, right? So I learned to listen better, to acknowledge,
mm-hmm,
even if I disagreed with what that parent was saying. I'm going to
mm-hmm,
acknowledge what you said. I'm going to acknowledge how you feel so that they know I heard them. I'm going
mm-hmm,
to repeat back what I heard them say. Are we on the same page? Okay. And then I'm going to move forward and address it that way. And so, just
mm-hmm,
really what I learned with that is parents just want to feel heard, even if
mm,
you don't, you may not necessarily act on it, but they want to know that you heard them. And so
mm.
just giving them a voice and giving them a place to feel as if, and sometimes they do, because if their point is valid, I would absolutely pivot or shift and make that change. I'm not a
Mhm,
closed-minded individual. If it's in the best need of your child, absolutely we can make that. And if I can make that
mhm.
happen. So
Right.
it's just about just being open and honest and hey, are we on the same page? This is where I am. I'm willing to meet you here. And a lot of times parents are there. Once they see you care about their child,
Mhm.
that's it. And I've had parents, I mean,
Yeah.
I've been invited to birthday parties, dance recitals, you
Mhm.
name it. I'm still friends with a lot of my parents and a lot of my students from many years ago. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, that's dope. So y'all heard that, new teachers. Y'all heard that. Listen, I think that is so key what you just said there is that um I'm okay with you having a different opinion. I'm okay
Mhm,
with that. But the
mhm.
goal here is for me to hear, listen, and understand you, which is something I always say is like as a teacher, you really have to have some soft skills. I mean, you
Yes.
you really do. Like you said, like I'm okay with us disagreeing, but
Yeah.
they just want to be like most times they just want to be
They
heard.
just
I
want to
want
be
to know
there.
that yeah, and you have the best interest of my child.
Mhm,
So I think like you said, communicating that to them is so important. So
mhm. Yeah.
y'all heard her. Listen to the
Yes.
people, reflect it back, because people just want to be heard. You heard of y'all. Okay,
And be
so
yourself. Be authentic to yourself.
oh yeah, that part too. Because she said now that was a gem right there.
Mhm,
Because you said you had more problems when you were being
mhm,
inauthentic than when
mhm,
not. That's a y'all listen. Y'all need to
mhm,
write that down. Y'all need to
mhm,
write that down because
mhm.
as a new teacher, that was probably did people tell you not to smile at the kids? Anybody tell you that?
Oh yes, you don't want to play with them too soon. You don't want to do that. You
Yes.
want to start firm and yeah, yeah. I had that.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a balance too, right? Because
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with it being playful, because a part of my personality is also playful. We're children. We're working with children. I have to
Right.
be playful, but they have to, right? We're not in the military here. I'm not your
Okay.
lieutenant, or okay.
Right, right, right.
So that's not always fair. I do believe in there being a fair balance of them
Mm,
understanding when it's time to work and when it's time to play. So it's really just
right.
about establishing the groundwork for that, laying out the rules, and letting your yes be yes and your no be no, being consistent. I hear you talk about
Mm,
consistency a lot. That is like, that's it.
mm-hmm.
Consistent.
That's
The
it.
parents know what to expect, your students know what to expect, your administrators know what to expect. There are no surprises with
Mm-hmm.
you. There should be no surprises with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think that's huge. That's a huge part of being a teacher. You know, I always say consistency is like my class was a McDonald's milkshake machine. Listen, that thing was off the chain. You didn't know if I was coming or going. It's like I don't know what to expect in here. Like it's some days it's just that thing was chaotic as hell because I was inconsistent and the kids they ate me up because of that.
Yeah.
But it definitely is. Y'all heard of y'all be consistent. So if I were to ask you, like, considering like all the things that you experienced as a new teacher, like what do you think is the most essential piece of information for a new teacher, like that they need to know, and what is something that you wish that someone would have told you when you started, like they was like, oh my gosh, I wish you would told me that, and what do you think is that most essential piece of info?
Mm. I would say it's, the most essential piece of information is to start how you want to finish,
Mm, okay.
which is, of course,
Okay.
starting off strong. So again, finding that
Mhm.
balance. You want to let the kids get to know you as well as you get to know
Mhm.
them, but you also want to establish those expectations of what is and what is not acceptable.
Mhm.
I would also say, going back again, to be consistent with all things, not only
Mhm.
consistent but intentional with all
Mm.
things concerning children. That's
Mm.
from their IEPs to their modifications to the accommodations to 504s to how you differentiate to how you plan an assessment to what questions you pick on that assessment. Be intentional with all things
Mhm.
concerning children. Um,
Mm.
and lastly, I would say focus your attention on being the solution to any problem that you face. In
Mm.
education, there's so much that can distract you and throw you off your game. Observations, colleagues talking about you, people judging your
Mhm.
classroom management, all of the things,
Mhm.
right? But if we allow
Mhm.
those things to take us off of our track and distract us, then we're losing sight of the most precious gifts in front of us and what we are truly there to do.
That's a gem. That's a clip right there, y'all.
So we have to stay focused and be the solution to the obstacles you face, and I think that will keep
Mm.
you in alignment with your why and why you got involved in education in the first place. So those would be the essential pieces that I would give to new teachers. um, Something I wish someone would have told me. So many things.
Right, I know. It's
um,
after all the L's, yes, right.
I feel like, and over time, of course, I was able to master this craft, but I wish I had more exposure to students with disabilities. I
Mm.
wish in my first year as a teacher, I would have been more equipped and prepared to deal with that. In college
Mm.
and in student teaching, it's very cookie cutter, it's very textbook. And we all know, even in student teaching, we don't get, I don't know how they handpick those classes, but but we don't get
Mhm.
the classes, the rosters of the students that we're actually going to be responsible for teaching. And so within my first 2 years, 2 to 3 years of teaching, actually, I just had to really develop myself in those areas to meet the
Mm,
needs of my students with disabilities. My back at one of my other schools in South Carolina, I don't know if she's gonna watch, but shout out to her. She knows who she is. She was like my partner in
mhm,
crime. She was a special education teacher. Me and her would collaborate every day. Like, what do you have?
mhm.
This is what I did. What did you do? Did it work for you? Like, we were in constant communication because I was determined to try to get this child off of his IEP, or have him meet his goals. Not only
Wow, that's
that
deep.
though, but use it for differentiation with my other students. So
Mhm,
it all worked. But I would say that's what I wish I would have been, not necessarily told, but had more exposure to and more preparation for.
mm. Okay, so first of all, you dropped some serious gems right there. You dropped some serious gems there because it's like it's so many things that I pulled out of that. I mean, so first of all, let's bottom line those three things. So you said number one, start how you want to finish.
Yes.
That's what you gotta do, and y'all know that. Listen, y'all, what they say, it's easier to lighten up. It's easier to tighten up then lighten up, or
Yes.
lighten up then tighten up. My first year, lighten up, baby, and that thing they lit me up. Okay, the other, okay, and then they told me up. The second one is being intentional when it comes to children. I've
Mhm.
never heard it like that before, but just like every move you make,
Mhm.
even all the way down to like the differentiation, the IEPs,
Mhm.
what questions am I
Mhm.
going to ask? What task am I putting for
Mhm.
the student? So like being very intentional and then being solution oriented. I,
Yeah.
I love that because something I had a guest on before, and they said as a teacher, as a new teacher, you really have to have that winning mindset. And
Yes.
that's what I kind of hear with that. Like it it's just gonna hit the fan. It's not a matter of if challenges happen, it's a matter of when.
Yes.
They coming. They
Yes.
coming, baby.
Yes.
So you've got to be solution oriented. And something else I pulled out of there too is like two big gems that you dropped was like, I developed myself.
Yes.
I put some time and energy. I do not feel equipped with these tools
Yes.
to support these students. So I'm gonna develop myself so that I'm equipped with those tools, because that's something that I definitely promote. Like you, like as a new teacher period, you've
Mhm.
got to be in a space of developing you,
Mhm.
period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to be in a constant
But
space of
also,
self-reflection as well.
yes, yes, it is the single key indicator of success according to research.
Mm-hmm.
um
And
but
practice.
and that yes, absolutely, for facts,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah.
And then that other piece you said there was like that collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I was we was in tune
Yes.
with the special ed teacher. But like that piece I think is so key too,
Mhm.
especially for new teachers, because like you can't do this thing by yourself, and you all working together. I'm sure you got ideas, I'm
Mhm.
sure she shared ideas as
Mhm.
well, like, and you share with her, like, and that help y'all better support kids. And it
Yes.
really leads back to that intentional around when I'm making decisions with kids.
Yes. And it really makes sense depending on the type of students you have, depending on what gaps they have, to seek out a resource of
Mhm.
somebody who is skilled in interventions. Um, so
Mhm.
it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to not know what you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know
Mhm.
until you ask.
Right,
So
right.
so that's something too. It's okay to ask for questions. You
Mhm.
don't come off incompetent if you're asking a
Mhm.
question. You come off like you care and you're trying to solve a problem. At least that's how I view
Okay.
it. So it's all about your mindset, how
Yes.
you view things.
Come on. Let's
Hmm.
go. Y'all heard her. Y'all better ask for help. Rookie teachers, get the help you need.
For help.
So would love to hear a little bit about, okay, so you come in, you said the first year, listen, the parents, I don't know what's going on here. Like you said, you had some challenges there. Is there a specific moment that changed you as an educator? Like, has there been a moment you can think of? Like, I know for me, it was calling inside of my own classroom. I was like, oh, we're gonna have relationships with our students. I just got played by 15-year-olds. So, so is there a moment for you that sticks out in your mind where you were like, you know what, baby, we gonna have to change some things here as a new teacher? Like, tell us about that.
Oh, oh. Well, yeah. I think I had a few. It was just this one year, right? Because if you could tell my demeanor, I'm very firm. I was blessed to be able to manage a classroom very well, which is why I offer coaching on that. But
Mm.
with
Y'all
that,
better get one of these. Y'all better get one of these. Okay? Classroom management 101. This your
okay,
girl right here.
with that came a lot of practice and experience with honing that craft. And I would say this particular year, I had a lot of what we would call red flags. Meaning, whenever you call their name on the walkie, everybody comes running. Okay, that's.
Okay.
Do you know they put like three of them in my classroom? What would they think?
Okay.
I'm not Superwoman around here. So,
Well, clearly you are.
oh no, I had three of them. And so it got to the point I had I mean, she brought like a bullet. It was in the shape of a bullet, but it was like a pocket knife. She had a hit
Mm-hmm.
list of kids. I mean, it was really serious. And that really changed it because she made it an unsafe environment for my other
Uh-huh.
kids. And of course,
Okay.
my first priority is to make sure everybody is safe. And so at that moment,
Okay.
it was like, I don't know if they say, I don't know if I'm safe. Something has to give. Like, have to
Okay.
make changes. So I think it was at that moment for sure. When I had to ask the
Mm-hmm.
students in my classroom like to move to the side or climb underneath the desk because this child would be throwing chairs and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, this child was able to be placed in a school that was able to meet her needs in a more better way. But it definitely gave me pause, and those were some of the days I went home crying, questioning
Mm-hmm.
if this was for me, if I was equipped to do it, can I overcome this? So that was definitely a moment of I don't know what's happening here. But on the flip
So
side,
how did you okay.
I
Okay. Well, I'm just curious, like, how did you overcome that? Like what in that moment for you was so hard and how did you overcome that?
it was hard because this was a child that had a history of trauma. And so I
Mm-hmm.
knew, and she was so young. So I knew it wasn't her
Mm-hmm.
fault. So because I was able
Mm-hmm.
again to empathize with her,
Mm-hmm.
that's what helped me to remain calm and try to navigate it to
Mm-hmm.
keep her safe as well as my other students. And then just
Mm-hmm.
having that feeling of, as teachers, we kind of have this savior complex. It's a gift and a curse. Like if I'm not here, then who's going to protect them? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what became my driving force to stay. And that's how I eventually overcame it. Like I said, that child got moved to another school. I still had two other red flags after she left.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, and I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, relationship building. One child, I got in really close with their grandparent. Another child,
Mm-hmm.
just getting to know him as a person and incorporating his interests into my lesson plans to keep him engaged and active to drive down those behaviors. That was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And so just learning strategies, what worked. Okay, I tried this didn't work. Let me try this didn't work. Okay, he don't need an hour. He needs every 30 minutes. Okay, maybe not this week. He don't need every 30 minutes. Maybe he needs
Mm-hmm.
every 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Nothing's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers have the mindset, I'm not doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my mindset. Nothing's too much when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
them. They are children.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in control of their experiences or their environments. We are. So while we can
Mm-hmm.
control what they experience and the environment in which they experience it in, we have to make it a positive and safe one.
That's a really powerful story. I mean, it's like a couple things I hear from when you say that. These are students who are air quote considered to be red flags,
Yes.
you know. But the other piece you said, what helped you like drive some of those behaviors down was that just the relational piece.
Mhm.
And even like I'm imagining in a moment like that where it's jeopardizing the safety of your students and you are such a hardcore going hard for your students, like to feel, I'm imagining like did you feel helpless in that moment when it's like, man,
Yes.
this student is really having a time and dealing with things that I have, like, I literally, like, I don't even know how to support this child in this moment, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So how does it, how do you navigate that? Because I think that is often a challenging thing for new teachers. I know, especially for me, like, I'm a black kid, but I ain't come from some of the same environments, like the trauma that the kids experience. Like,
Mhm.
like how did you like navigate that? That just seems like a lot. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was God. I this is what
Mm-hmm.
I believe about teaching. I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
that it is just something you do. Obviously, it's not something you do for the money. Um, you do
Mm-hmm.
it
Right.
because it's a calling or it fulfills you in some
Mm-hmm.
way. There's purpose in it. And so that's how I look at it. I didn't view it as something that I would quit easily on. I didn't view it
Mm-hmm.
as something to run away from. And so because that's how I approach it, it's head on. What can we do? Okay, if my administrators are saying their hands are tied, which they are. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's just be honest. I roll my eyes because there's a lot of politics in education as well. And it's not the administrator's fault. Let's just be perfectly clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their fault. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
procedures and steps and things that you have to go through. Like, a
Mm-hmm.
child has to almost hurt somebody before something is done. It's more so
Mm-hmm.
acting after the fact instead of prevention. And so I just had to rely on God and my faith and understanding my purpose and knowing that this is not her fault. She did not cause
Mm-hmm.
this. She has a soft heart. She's a sweet girl. Sweet girl.
Mm-hmm.
There would just be
Mm-hmm.
certain other kids or certain things that would trigger her. And so just having to learn her
Mm-hmm.
triggers, try to get a
Mm-hmm.
better understanding of her family history in a way that's not gossipy.
Say that again for the people in the back. Woo, say it for the people in the back.
So, being again, going back to intentional, who you seek out about information, familial history, when you're trying to understand a child and the best ways or best approaches to dealing with them. So, these are some of the tactics that I took: prayer, seeking out trustworthy individuals or sources that could give me trustworthy information, reliable
Mm-hmm.
information. Informing myself, seeking help from
Mm-hmm.
administration, seeking help from behavior specialists, as well as our school counselor. Um, Again, I was never afraid and still not, which is how we could. I'm not afraid to ask questions or ask for help. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if this is something
Mm-hmm.
I'm facing and I know this is not my ministry, right? This is in my area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to the person who is and see how I can learn. Okay, well, what did you do? Okay, well, next time I'll try
Mm-hmm.
that so I don't have to bother you. And then that's how you put more
Right.
tools in
Right.
your tool belt.
That's so good. That's all of that is good because listen, it's a couple things that she said that helped her navigate this, y'all. So, prayer.
Mhm.
Listen, some things are just, some things are out of your control, and yeah, it's just sometimes you gotta, when you don't have it, it's something you gotta lean on to help you
Mhm.
get that.
Mhm.
And then also seeking out trustworthy individuals that can support you. And also I heard when you were describing earlier, like, I'm more curious
Mhm.
than I am about, like, in a gossipy way. Oh, like, this, what's going on with this child?
Mhm.
It's like I literally want to understand
Mhm.
their experience so I can support them better, which I'm just seeing as you talk about these different things, is that solution oriented mindset.
Mhm.
And also informing yourself,
Mhm.
like, that's that self-reflection piece, y'all.
Mhm.
Like, that self-reflection,
It's
being
important.
aware and asking for help. Like, if I don't have the tools, let me seek out and ask for help, which new teachers, y'all know, like, listen, you ain't got to struggle on these four walls alone. Like,
Right.
it's people to help you, and y'all see it right here. If you need some elementary help, y'all better get one of these. Y'all better get one of these. Listen, we about to offer y'all a workshop out here. She gonna offer y'all a workshop. Look at her. I'm telling her what
Come
she
on.
doing. Now, anyway, yeah, but that's what's up. I love all of that. So we're closing out on time, Yasha,
Mhm.
but I would really love to hear, like, what is one key takeaway that you would love for our new teachers to get from this conversation today?
Ooh, it said many. One key takeaway. I want them to take away that the power that they possess, that
Mm,
education truly has the power to transform lives. It can evolve
mm,
lives.
mm,
And that work shouldn't be treated lightly. And just believe in what you're doing. I think you have to believe in it in order for the students to
mm,
believe in it, in order for the
mm,
parents to believe in it, in order for your administration to believe in it. It has to start in your mind that there is
mm,
power in what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing.
mm, I love that. And so I'm assuming that's where the elementary it evolved.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Because
Yes,
we're not
yes.
only evolving our
Yeah.
practices, we're evolving our mindsets as well. We're evolving our strategies. We're evolving how we connect and we relate to minority students, especially with teachers who don't look like us. So we have to
Mm,
put in the work to make sure that we're not judging our students. And because that's the piece that's missing, that's what's the block that's preventing empathy, the prejudices,
mm,
the stereotypes, the assuming,
mm,
the gossiping, and oh, well, this child and this parent, and I had his sister, and this is what this, and child, let me tell you, you don't want to do that, and let me, no,
mm-hmm.
block it out, focus on being the solution to the problems that you face.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm like, hearing you said, I'm like, oh, we're going to have to bring you back and talk about these biases, girl.
Oh,
Because I want, yes, yes, I want to explore that. That's, I think
yeah,
that is, this is going to be a follow up 2.0 to this conversation because
I'm
I think
ready.
that piece right there, yes, that part you said right there, Brown, like the biases,
Mhm.
and really what I hear you saying too is like the evolution is in how we think
I see myself.
because so something I think I was in a session today, like you can't outperform your beliefs. Like you can say it trial day. You trying to like I'm gonna do this straight, but you don't believe the kids can do it. You're
Right,
judging them. How's that gonna work?
right.
So you better be ready. That's a 2.0 conversation. I
I
definitely
got you.
want to go there. But I really love what you said there. It's like we're like the power that you have as a teacher.
Mhm.
Like man,
I
take
think
it.
it's because they feel so powerless due to the lack of a voice
Mm-hmm.
that they have. But understanding that each
Mm-hmm.
and every time that you get in front of that room, each and every time that you put that you're typing or you're putting your paper to pen and you're creating a lesson plan, that's power. Because
Mm.
nobody's teaching you how. They're telling you what to teach. They're not telling you how to teach it. The power and how to teach it belongs to you. So there is
Come
autonomy.
on now.
You just have to
Come on
recognize
now.
it, grab a hold of that thing, and make it work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And speaking of which, as we think about that, I know rookies, principals, APs, I know y'all might be like, you know what? I ain't got time. I ain't got time to be working with these new teachers. I want to help them,
Mhm.
but I ain't really got time. So how can people connect with you if they like, yo, I want to work with elementary ed involved. I want to, experience your free workshop that you got coming up.
Yeah.
How do they do that? Like what how do they connect with you?
They can visit my website, www.lmedevolve.com. They can shoot me an email for
Mm-hmm.
more information or to have a conversation. That's info@lmedevolve.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all under the same handle, Elementary Education Evolved. And I'm ready to connect. Let's partner. I got time.
Yes. Yes, she got time today, y'all. Y'all heard her. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you bringing your expertise and the gems that you brought today. I mean, so many things that I'm even wrapping my mind around as well. So I really appreciate you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
Well, good, good, good. And for all my rookies, y'all already know we signing off, but I want you to keep that rookie state of mind. And you might be saying, "What's that?" It's because y'all should drop these gems today. I want you to remember the level up is in the losses. Y'all heard us say that that problems are a privilege. And yes, you might be new to this, but I know you're true to this because you're in this moment right now, and I believe in each one of you. So y'all keep that Ricky state of mind. But we'll be back next week. Y'all know sometime. Listen, I ain't telling y'all direct time. I know it's between 5:15 and 5:45. I'll be here somewhere in that range, maybe even 6 o'clock. We'll be here. But y'all already know 5:15 between 6 o'clock. We gonna be on here to Ricky Reset to provide you with practical tools and tips to help you stay in the game. So y'all keep that Ricky state in mind, and we out.
Bye, teacher friends.